talkers.
Special day for Mitchell because he's getting to meet one of his big heroes, Adam Leitman Bailey.
Yeah, I read your book about a year or so ago. And then I actually reached out to you on LinkedIn, and then the day after we met you at the event. So it was kind of meant to be.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
right.
You were eating a bagel and cream cheese at the...
In fact, I don't eat bagels and cream cheese.
So what were you doing?
I was starving. and they don't have my health, stuff.
When I read a bit about
There's a salad on my desk.
I think, your day, food is a big part of your day, right? You really think about what you put into...
No, not a big part. I get the same thing every day. It's very simple.
but you get it every day.
I get the same thing every day.
Over and over.
I mean, I don't eat this. I mean, this is the greatest New York breakfast you can ever have.
Yeah.
So, this is, bagels and lox, and you shouldn't leave without cutting up the bagel.
No, we will,
Putting
for sure.
cream cheese on it, and then put cream cheese on first, then put the lox on, and then taste it, and then just bring it home so your wives can at least try it.
We will.
Because this
We're
is
hungry. We're hungry brokers.
This is the quintessential Jewish breakfast. Now, let me just be blunt. Jews, no one ever says, you go out and you say, I need Italian food. I have to have Italian food, or I want some Japanese food, or I'm dying for a certain meal. But you've never gone out and said, I need Jewish food. But the only thing the Jews do well is breakfast. We own breakfast. And this is the quintessential breakfast: the bagel, the lox, the cream cheese. This is, so.
This is it.
So please, this is for you. This is made because this is brokers and brunch. So
Yes.
we thought.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And you were right about your office, the best office in the city. Look at the view.
It's amazing.
How long have you been here for?
2016.
Okay, you've been here a number of years then.
Yeah.
Carried it through COVID, obviously, and...
During the height of COVID, we signed a new 12-year lease.
Bet you got a good deal there.
Well, whenever no one else is, when anybody's allegedly leaving New York and no one's ever signing a lease again, you're going for everything you can.
True.
Yeah.
And you've seen a few cycles, I'm sure. You've seen this happen before.
Well, I started practicing law in 1995. I missed the 87 cycle, but I studied it in great detail. I had the dot-com bubble in 2000, which is like a blip. And then we had Sandy.
2012.
Superstar was Sandy in 2012. But before that, we had the big one, 2007, 2008. That rocked everyone, We jumped on that. That was an amazing, but unfortunately, there's no moral hazard. No one paid any prices for it. The people just made money. They funneled money in, amazingly.
So what do you think of this cycle compared to previous ones you've seen?
I don't know what this cycle is.
Yes.
I mean, all I know is that there's this really big, heavy thing that's ready to drop right above our heads, and who knows when it's going to drop, if it's going to drop, and what are they going to do about it?
In terms of like loan maturities and distress.
Well, you could pick any part of real estate, and you heard the residential multifamily part from Jay Martin.
Yeah.
It's the state legislature is doing everything they can to slowly scalp any kind of money that a landlord is trying to make. They're trying to destroy the landlord. So
What has that done for your business?
Well, it's not good when your clients no longer invest in New York because the state legislature is trying to ruin them. So Florida, they put out the red carpet and they're trying to incentivize landlords to build and do well. In New York, you come here and they say, please get out. We're not going to allow you to build. We're going to make it impossible. And then we're gonna stab you. We're going to shoot you. We're going to cut off your head. And then hopefully you can still survive. That's the way New York real estate. That's your introduction to New York real estate. And welcome.
Is this the furthest
Welcome
left?
to the misery.
Is this the furthest left in terms of the policies and the legislation? Like what they did in 2019 with the rent laws is some would consider unlawful. I don't know. What are your thoughts in terms of the law?
It's not unlawful. I think it's unlawful, but it's ruined I mean, it's basically ruined our economy with multifamily dwellings. It's caused at least 40 to 50% of my clients never to ever invest here again. It took away the trust of New York. Where people believe they could invest here, took away that trust, which you may not be able to get back for generations. And what's amazing is, by changing those laws, you're helping so few people. The average rent rate. See, Jay didn't actually explain. Jay Martin, who did a fabulous job on your podcast explaining the numbers, he didn't go into like the human thing. The average rent regulated tenant, there's not even that many left. The average rent regulated tenant is in their 60s, many in their 70s, between 60 something and 80, and there's not that many. So, and many of them, they were counting on these buyouts where you would pay them, you buy the leases from them, so they can move to Florida and retire. I mean, tons of them, because we represent landlords and tenants, by the way. So they were counting on these buyouts, and the legislature took them away, because the legislature doesn't actually care about a group of people. They're not trying to help a group of people. It's the legal services, and they had stashed away all these laws written years ago that they wanted to get passed, and they just didn't have the votes yet or the legislature in place. And then as soon as they had the legislature in place, they had them ready to go. Doesn't help anyone. It just hurts the everyone. There's less units to be rented because they can't rent these units at these low prices. So there's less units. So people like you that are renting, you're paying a higher price for your units because the rent regulated tenants are not moving because they don't have to pay a higher rent.
Yeah.
Or the buildings are being kept empty. So that means there's less inventory. So anyone wanting to live in New York is paying more money to rent. So the common person wanting to rent a free market apartment is paying much more than they should, all because of the state legislature passing the 2019 law, this crazy law that doesn't really help many people.
So,
it's a nightmare.
So why would they do it?
I actually don't know the answer. I've heard one reasoning is that the goal is to make landlords hand in the keys so we can have free housing. Yeah,
So push them to the limits and let them give it up.
that's one thing I've heard. It just doesn't really make sense.
Uh-huh.
What's more amazing to me is how few people. Like, I don't blame them for being socialists, and I don't blame them for wanting everybody to pay no rent. That's their thing. God bless them. They have a right to do that way. But I blame the middle class or the upper middle class. We don't really have middle class here. The people, the average person that's renting free market for not voting. Less than 5% of the people vote.
Yeah.
How, when your rent is so high and you know that these people that are legislatures are passing these laws that hurt you, how are you not coming out and voting against them and putting in place someone that can replace them and help you? That's what's really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That's always been the way, though, hasn't it?
No, there used to be a parity where the Senate was controlled by Republicans and the Assembly was controlled by Democrats. And there was a balance. There was three people. It used to be called three people in a room. Two of them are in jail now, or are just out of jail. And they would get together and figure everything out and tell everybody what to do. That's gone. Andrew Cuomo signing the 2019 law, he said, if you could get that done, I'll sign it. He made a mistake. He never thought that would happen because it's such a bad law, the 2019 law.
Do you think there's a chance in the future that this makes some amendments to it when it gets bad enough?
I think we're at the point now where it's hurting so many people that they have to, except they just passed more laws that are hurting more landlords 2 weeks ago. The governor signed more laws that are going to bankrupt more landlords.
Rent overcharges.
Rent overcharges that it's actually going the other way. So I thought they're going to realize you're hurting too many people. But in effect, they're not stopping. They're going further.
And I've seen Kathy Hochul come out with some ridiculous proposal for the new 421A, which doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It just doesn't work. Look how few units that we built in the last year. Was it 581? I'm sorry. We need thousands of units built. We need developers building. They can't build. They can't build in this economy, in this environment. It's a sin. We don't even have enough shelters to place everyone.
What I meant was about the less than 5% of people voting. Like, that's always been the way, though, right? People don't really show up typically to vote.
No, some elections, like, Blumberg or Giuliani, you're getting the people out. On a presidential year, more people will vote. But it's always been a low voting. New York has always been a low voting turnout.
Historically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But remember, 10, 20 years ago, there was a large amount of regulated tenants. Instead of being 60, 20 years ago, they were 40.
True.
So there was a large base. Now they don't have that many. So we shouldn't have that problem.
So how did you get into this game?
Well, I was born in 1970. I'm 53 years old in Bayside, Queens. Parents lost their jobs when I was 5. They were retired teachers. They couldn't find a job, so we moved to California. And it's not a good thing for a New Yorker to move to California.
Really? You didn't have a good experience
Especially
there?
a fast-talking... I don't have it anymore because it's gone, my accents, but a fast-talking New Yorker coming to California is not a smart thing. And then the only thing worse than that was that New Yorker moving to New Jersey at 13. That was even worse. I mean, now I have blonde hair and I'm a Maui dude and I'm now a Californian and I'm coming back to New Jersey, and boy, that was a wreck. So,
We can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's like when we're back at home,
Right, there you go.
we're Yanks, and when we're over here, we're Paddies, and Mitch is some kind of Brit. But it is different when you put yourself in a different environment like that. And
you guys seem like the type that would get along with anybody, though.
Appreciate that. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
we
I
try.
like to think so.
Yeah.
As a broker, you speak to a lot of different people, right? So
Yeah.
it's the nature of our job, I suppose.
No, it's good. It's a good quality to have.
But you need you do need to have an edge. I found as well. I mean, getting along with everyone is great, but when you're negotiating these deals and you're dealing with Bronx landlords and people trying to get the best bang for their buck, it's nice to be nice, but you have to be effective as well. And you seem to have mastered that as well, where you've got an effectiveness about you.
You see, I have no idea what that means because I was born. When you have a horrible childhood, automatically gives you great leadership skills. Automatically makes you the toughest guy in the room.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And then I remember being in 4th grade, being bussed. You know what bussing is?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Kamala
I don't,
Harris.
sorry.
spoke
Jay
about it.
Martin talked about that, right?
That's right.
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is close to my age.
Sorry, with
So-
my
so I
Irish
think
friend here.
I was the first class of busing. She was the second class. I was bused in 4th grade to the Compton area, La Cienega. It's a really bad neighborhood in LA. I don't know, it still is. And you don't learn anything for a year. But I did. You do take theater, but the kids aren't there to learn. They're there to survive, which is fascinating. Yeah, and the kids don't need it. You don't, there's no racism. I mean, I didn't understand racism. To me, I don't care what color you are, or, you don't need to integrate me with a kid of a different color. We're all there to survive.
That's the nice thing about being a New Yorker. It's such a melting pot. I mean,
No, I was in California,
but you had that background going there, right?
I didn't even notice. I'm
Although
like,
Bayside,
I don't care what
Bayside
color
all-
anybody is. I still don't. We hire. This is a really diverse firm, and we hire the best people. Period.
Right, which is the way it should be.
Right. So.
Talking about like the recruitment process here, like how do you hire a lot of young attorneys, and how do you identify talent, and what's that process like?
We do the exact opposite recruitment of Paul Massey.
What's that?
Well, he doesn't like he didn't look at resumes.
He was poor, hungry, and driven.
Yeah,
that's what he wanted.
I think, but an attorney.
No, he didn't. He said no. He didn't. He
looked for excellence on the resume, or some sort of achievement.
No, he didn't. He didn't look at resumes. He said, "I have extreme requirements. I have requirements where you won't get, if you say a certain thing in a resume, you don't get the job."
Like what, for example?
Ready?
Yeah.
You have to be poor. You have to grow up disadvantaged and poor. You have to. I do not hire from first years. You know, when you get older, I'll hire. But first years, I do not hire first years from Ivy League schools. I'd rather have the top of the class from the worst law schools or the lower end law schools. And I want people that want to be successful, the passion for success. Now, that they may say I want to be rich. That's just as good for me. I never was into money. I just never had a drive for money. I just didn't understand money. When your parents are teachers, they don't talk about money. You don't know anything about that. You know, when you're hungry, you don't have money, but you're just not driven for that. But you have to have a passion for success. You have to grow up poor, and then I want to see a success in the resume. I want to see top of the class from what, doesn't matter what school. I want to see top of the class. I want to see that you can compete with others and do well. And if you look at our website, we actually show you what year you started as an extern here, and you're still here. We have very little turnover, and I believe we have many of the best attorneys alive in New York.
What skills do you think you need to possess as an attorney trying to carve a career in this business in New York?
I think you need to. I think you need to basically give most of your life to the law.
Yeah.
You need to have a drive, an incredible amount of drive. Same skills as the hiring. Incredible amount of drive. You need to be very intelligent. But the intelligence isn't the smartest guy in the room who, won the spelling bee and got into Harvard. It's the intelligence of, being able to break down cases and understand things and have analytical abilities that you could put together and teach a judge. No one ever wins an argument. When I go to court, I'm teaching.
Educating the
judge. Think about just it's same as Massey Knuckle, or
B6.
B6.
Or Ripco.
Same as all the terms. You guys have territories. We have our own territory. We only do one state.
You specialize, yeah.
You specialize in one state and one type of law. So we really are limited in what we'll do. So when a case comes in, we don't have to go research the law. We already know the law. We may have to research a little bit for something arcane that may be new, a little bit new. But now it's just, since we already know the law on it, we just need, okay, what's the creativity we need to win this? And we could focus on the case rather than learning the law because we already know the law. And we don't go in front of a judge unless we know exactly what their favorite meal is.
How do you find that? So that kind of level of research is something that we partake in as well. How do you go about it when you're dealing with judges?
Their favorite meal?
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, but we're in front of the same judges for
it's get to know them after, yeah.
You get in front of the same judges for 28 years. It's not that difficult.
You build a profile on them?
Well, when you're in front of a judge 500 times, you have a profile on them. We know how they're going to decide usually when we go in. We know everyone here is going to ask in advance, and then we know how to write the brief for that judge, or write or argue it, or we know what to go in with.
So you go into the judge, you're educating the judge, you're not trying to make an argument, because
it's an argument, but you're teaching. We're experts in real estate law.
What's the difference in your mind?
Well, we're experts in real estate law.
Right.
We've written the books. Those are backwards right now. They shouldn't be. But we've written the book on real estate law. We're the experts. So how is this different than the leading case on the subject? And how do the facts apply? That's all we're doing.
So you really did become a teacher then, after all?
Yeah, I really became a teacher, which is
In your blood.
Probably your greatest skill as an attorney.
Yeah.
Is teaching. Anyone that goes in screaming and yelling to a judge, if you think a judge enjoys that, they don't. The judge has a goal. They want to understand the case, number one. Then they want to understand why your position is right or wrong versus the other side. And the other side's going to get a chance to speak also. So why should they pick your side versus the other side? And it's very difficult. And most judges are not corrupt, and they want to do the right thing. And your job is to educate them.
Interesting.
And if we lose, we don't blame anyone. We just look in the mirror to look at who's at fault.
Do you track your win-loss ratio, or how does it work when you're a lawyer?
Yeah, I have nightmares for the few cases that we've lost. I wake up in the middle of the night still in the same case from 15 years ago.
And you still remember them?
I literally wake up in the middle of the night for the same stupid case.
Oh, wow.
I definitely should have won. I definitely should have won this case.
What were the big takeaways from that?
No, it was on Baxter Street, a very big company, and we weren't the transactional attorneys, but the owner gave her daughter a sweetheart lease. The owner was in the name of a LLC. The daughter, she gave her a rent-regulated lease for almost nothing in her own name. To me, that's fraud. But the court found that the transaction attorney should have picked it up, and that you can do that. And I'm like, well, how can you give yourself a sweetheart lease when you're selling your property? I mean, that's a great fraud. I mean, that's illegal. And I lost an appeal too. I still haven't gotten over that. And
you said that was 15 years ago?
It was more than that actually now. But I had lunch with the clients last year, little less than a year ago. And I told them I'm still having nightmares over the case. I go, Adam, you got to get over this already. I go, I can't.
Have you always been this competitive your whole life since you were a youngster? You play sports?
Yeah, I was a top runner, but I choked in the biggest races. But I was a top runner. I never competed against any other people. I competed against myself. So yes, I needed to get straight A's in school. I needed to win my races, but I obsessed over the races so much that it probably hurt me. So I learned from that. We give out scholarships here. 4-year, $10,000 a year, a few of them a year. We've given out over $1 million in scholarships.
Wow, that's great.
And it's named after my Ray Hap Harrison scholarship, my track coach, my track and cross country coach. Cross country in America is when you run 3.2 miles or longer.
What was your relationship like with him?
We still talk like every 2 weeks.
Awesome.
We're very, very close. Yeah.
What did he teach you?
Everything. In fact, he was like a second father. He was just always there for me.
This was California?
This is New Jersey. I went to high school. I moved back when I was 13.
So you came back to
New
Jersey?
Milford High School.
Nice.
It's right over there, right over that there, you know.
Right over by...
It's not underwater, put it that way. It's blue collar. It's the center of Bergen County.
Uh-huh.
Where do you go to college?
I went to a college called Rutgers. Have you heard of that?
So you got in-state tuition in Jersey?
In-state tuition in New Jersey. I paid for it myself, $3,000 a semester. I don't know what it is now, but it's higher.
And where was your first job out of college?
It took me 9 months to get a job.
What year was that?
Like, would you hire me? I wouldn't hire myself. This is 1995.
This is before you went to Syracuse?
No, Syracuse was law school.
No, first job out of college.
Oh, after law school.
I'm sorry, college and law school, and then
Okay.
I'm going for my first job. I didn't have a break in between.
And were you working at a top law firm before you set up your own firm?
I couldn't get into a top law firm.
Okay.
I'm top 20% of Syracuse, which is not. It was ranked. It was.
They have a focus on
It
trial.
was top 50 back in 1995, but not anymore. What's that?
They have a focus on like trial.
In fact, that's the only thing they're actually good at. Still, they're a top 10 or 20 trial program.
Yeah.
They have an amazing trial program even today. And I didn't know it going in. I didn't even know I was a trial attorney. But I did an internship at Rutgers at a law firm, and the boss said, you're a trial attorney. I said, well, why do you think that? He said, because you're not a transactional attorney. I said, how did you know that? And he didn't give me the answer, but he probably said, who knows why.
What do you think?
Oh, he became a client of this firm, my externship boss. No, I know. I'm a born litigator. I mean, everything I do is. If you're, a leopard has spots. Does a leopard have spots?
A leopard has spots.
Yeah, they do.
You can't change the spots off the leopard. I mean, I am a litigator.
Right.
Do you win arguments with your wife?
No, she's always right. It's amazing. My wife's never been wrong. All these years, she's never been wrong. It's amazing. She's always right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How did you meet?
Do you know? There's a mayor called Beam. He was a mayor of New York, and his nephew was Lawrence Beam, and he's a real estate developer. And he's an excellent basketball player. He used to give me orders in the basketball court on 60th Street, called Sports Club LA. He used to give me like orders like a dictator. And I love basketball, but I just wasn't very good. But he'd give me orders and what to do, and I'd follow them. And he goes, listen, I have this woman for you. She's great. I went to school with her, but I'm thinking, he's a little mashugana, a little crazy. But he takes out a picture and he shows it to me, and she's drop dead gorgeous. And I'm like, I'm in, So he puts us on something, and we had a date. And he always reminds me of that, And that was it.
Awesome.
Would you say you're a hunter type of personality?
Hunter?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Definition of hunter.
Hunter? Is there a stronger word you got? Hunter? I think we need it's got to be something stronger than hunter.
Someone with a spear?
I'm the most aggressive person I've ever met.
I love
the
that.
spear doesn't do it.
Where do you think the aggression comes from?
No, it's not like
aggression is the wrong word.
Well, hold on. Imagine, first of all, if you look at most, I don't think I'm successful. I think, compared to, really successful people like Oprah Winfrey or Michael Dell or Stephen Jobs. Those are really successful people. This is small time. Let's put this in the scheme of things. But, but the recipe for being successful normally is someone growing up poor, really poor, someone with high ambitions, half a brain, works really hard, reads every book they can on how to be successful. There's no how-to book that I didn't read when I had my from 18 to 22. Everyone. In fact, I just bought my assistant one and another attorney another one. Dale Carnegie.
How to Win Friends and Influence.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Every executive has to read that. How to Win Friends and Influence People. And so I just I don't believe there could be a more driven person. What I didn't have was I never had a mentor. People ask, who are your mentors? I don't have any. My mentors were through books. Lincoln, Churchill, Gandhi, Martin Luther King.
Your own coach, right?
Rockefeller. His building is right. That's right. That was my first office right there.
Oh.
That's right. Rockefeller's Standard Oil building. That great building.
Awesome.
What about your old track coach?
He was a track coach, and he kept me sane. But he wasn't. He wasn't. He was great for that time, but as far as business is concerned, he couldn't. He was anti-business.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a business mentor.
No, the opposite. He didn't think I should go into business.
I think probably the sole reason, probably the most important reason why you become successful is because your passion for the law. And whenever you see someone at the top of industries, their passion for the business that gets them to that point. And you obviously love the law.
When we first met, Adam, at that Commercial Observer event, remember that we went into we were chatting to you outside, and then we went in, and I looked over, and you were sitting on your laptop, like, jamming the keyboard during the event, and you were, like, banging out emails.
Right.
And that was just, like, a random 10-minute window you had.
I'll take it.
So
Yeah.
there's obviously a level of focus there that is fairly above and beyond what you normally see.
Well, one of the qualities I think you need to be successful is you have to love what you do. I wake up every day and I'm like, yeah, let's go.
That's great.
Here we go. Let's make. How great can I make today? How much can I produce today? The hard part is I can't ever finish. I'm always exhausted at the end of the day. I didn't finish what I'm supposed to be doing. I got more to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't get it done. I feel like an Alexander Hamilton song.
What's your aspirations for the business? You need to keep going indefinitely?
I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have any goals. It's a horrible thing. I know.
I can't imagine
no
you're the sort of
mentors,
person.
No goals.
I can't imagine you're the sort of person that's going to want to retire though early.
No, the opposite. No, not at all. No, I took care of that. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old.
Oh, awesome.
So no, I'll be working for a long time.
What do you think when people say you're one of the top attorneys in the States, but you're a maverick? What does that mean?
I couldn't care less what anybody thinks of me. First of all, I'm honored when every time anybody says something really nice about me. I'm honored. No one appreciates the applause more. I'm honored. But I'm more interested when they criticize me. I'm fascinated by the criticism because I want to figure out what happened, why did it happen, or why didn't we get this gig from X company, or I'm more interested in the criticism and if we didn't get a job or a gig or if a case doesn't go well, I'm interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the praise. We love hearing it, but it doesn't affect me. We just move on. I have no ego. I've never had. We just had a 21st anniversary last week, January 3rd, 2 weeks ago. We don't celebrate that. It'll be celebrated online coming up, but we're just not celebrators, you know. We
Keep down focused.
We keep moving.
Yeah.
Keep moving, like a shark, you know.
Can we talk about some of your famous cases that you've worked on?
Anyone you want. But most of them aren't even out there. They're confidential. It's a confidentiality agreement.
So any of the good ones we don't even know about.
Yeah. Oh, you don't. The best ones you don't know about. Yeah.
How about the Trump case?
Happy to speak about Donald Trump.
So, what was your involvement in that case? Do you mind describing the case?
There's more than one, but you want the Trump Soho one?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
7, right? There's 7.
7 cases.
Wow.
Most of them were small time repair cases, like with 40 Wall Street crap, you know.
And just to clarify, you're the attorney representing the party against Trump.
So a bunch of rich people wanted to get out of their contracts at Trump Soho. In fact, because you're European, you'll there's a famous soccer player in there. You'll know who he is, and I don't remember his name.
Okay.
Where was it?
But football, I know.
An Italian
you
guy?
guys love football. I can look it up right now, but no, he's
Maldini? No?
no. I think he called him. I think he said he was God, something like that.
It might be Zlatan Ibrahimovic, maybe. I don't know.
It's on Wikipedia.
We'll go with it after.
But yeah. So I was like, okay, this is So we get this case. It's like 20 plaintiffs or whatever. I'm exaggerating that. I don't know how many plaintiffs. And I turned to my partners, and I said, I feel like I'm in a Ponzi scheme. This is before Madoff. I feel like I'm in a Ponzi scheme. We took their money, but I don't have a way of helping them. Trump builds really well. Now, I didn't know it. I know it now, but I didn't know it then. But no one builds better than Donald Trump. But do you know why?
No.
Because he has no budget. He doesn't pay his contractors. So if you have no budget and you could hire the best people in the world and the best materials and you don't have to pay for them, of course you're going to build well. But Trump builds very well. So it's like, okay, this isn't going to be our usual case because we're not going to find defect problems. These people want their money back. How am I going to do this? So we start digging in, and then it comes to us. We get an email, and only 15% of the units are sold. Ivanka went on The Apprentice and announced how it's sold out. Bingo. Fraud. You can't announce it's sold out when only 15% are sold. No one has ever enforced that law before. This is the first time ever. That changed the brokerage industry. There's now a disclaimer on every brokerage paper. I don't get any credit for it. They should have an Adam Leitman Bailey thing.
But you've no ego, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They can copy anything they want. People copy. We put out everything in our paper, including the new laws and the new flyers and leases and everything. But before that, people would exaggerate their broker, how much is sold in the building on brokerage fees, or they put in like what's in contract, what's not in contract, who's getting out, But they would just lie. That case changed that. No one's lying anymore. Everybody's accurate.
So you're holding people accountable.
In that case, I held them accountable.
Which had a knock-on effect.
I'm not a prosecutor.
Which had a knock-on effect, though, on upholding that I guess rule for every other broker. They had to follow that.
Well, that changed the brokerage industry, but what really got me was when there was a press conference called, and I had no idea what was happening, and the Attorney General named Cyrus Vance, that's his first name, had a press conference saying the reason he didn't arrest Donald Trump for that fraud, criminal fraud, was because Adam Leitman Bailey wrote a letter saying that he doesn't believe a criminal fraud occurred, because when you settle a case, it's common to write a letter like that. You sign a release, you write a letter saying you don't believe there's criminal fraud. They needed that to settle it. I don't care. My clients are getting 90% of their money back in their attorney fees, and they're happy, and I'm happy to send a letter. So he waives my letter, and all of a sudden I'm front page news again of why he's becoming president, basically, of why he's not being arrested, and he can become president because of me. So I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Don't blame me for him becoming president. Now, the election hasn't happened yet, but, that's a lot to put on a small-time attorney.
That's good for business, though, right?
No, that's not good for business.
Mm-hmm. You're on the front page of a paper. It must be
all press, good press.
No, we're on the front page a lot. Go Google, go on New York Times and put in our name, and
no, I've seen.
We're on the front page often. We sued a brokerage for like $500 million a couple months ago. Made the front page for discrimination.
Can we talk about your daily routine?
Anything you want.
Yeah.
So before we do that, do you want to have one more question regarding your case?
Yeah, sure.
Has there been any? What case have you enjoyed winning the most? Any one sticks out to the mind?
Like personal satisfaction?
Yeah, personal satisfaction.
Yeah.
You really wanted to win that case.
This is going to bore you.
It won't bore us.
But
I'm curious.
There's a woman practicing law today, and she's really sweet. And her name is Stephanie Rivas.
Okay.
And her mom is a dentist. And her mom, this property in Brooklyn, this multifamily property in Brooklyn, was being, she was buying it, but the way she was buying it was the deed was put in someone's safe deposit box. An attorney I'm not going to name, because I love this attorney. He's a great guy. He put the deed in the safe deposit box because he was a drunk, this seller, and she was bartering. She owned a shop, so he was bartering free alcohol in exchange for getting the number that she was selling it for down. While that was going on, the drunk guy sold it to someone else and closed.
While he was drunk.
No, I don't know if he was drunk or not, but the first to close without knowing of another buyer wins.
Okay.
Stephanie Rivas, by the way, is 10 years old at the time. Her mother, Mrs. Rivas, put her life savings into this. No attorney should ever put in a deed in escrow. You always record it. They should have closed and recorded it and dealt with the money later. Or had given a mortgage out. So I ran to the property when I heard about the closing. And the new buyer meets me there. And we go eye to eye in the lawn. I am now 31 years old. I have my own firm. We go eye to eye in the lawn, and I say, "What are you doing?" You know, he doesn't have an attorney yet, or if he does, I don't know who he is. And he punches me in the face.
Literally.
Literally. This is chapter 17 in my home buying book, Finding the Uncommon Deal.
I've read it, yeah.
That's chapter 17. It's the very end. The chapter on why you should buy title insurance. One of our specialties is representing title insurance companies.
Wait, so he punches you in the face?
He punches me in the face, and it wasn't that hard, actually. I mean, when you are a nerd, no, when you're a geek, and when you're a runner, you're only 100 pounds, and you're a geek, and you're into books, you
Are you describing? You referring to you?
Me.
Yeah.
You're growing up as a geek, as a very skinny person because you're running so much. You have to be able to take a punch. And you know, as a geek, that it's usually only one punch before they break it up. So you got to be able to take one punch. So, you know, I later learned how to box, and I wish I would have known to put my hands up back then, but I didn't know that yet. So, you know, most of these are one punches, and then people break the fight up. And then as I got older and I got muscles and I built up muscles by my sophomore year of high school, then I realized I could do it from one punch too, you know. It got fun. So, I figured because he punched me and I went down, and if I stayed down, maybe the cops will come and he'll give her the deed because he probably did this for a living, and then I'll drop the charges. I'm lying there a half hour, no one's coming. The police never came. 911 didn't work. So it's a bad part of Brooklyn, you know. Probably, yeah. So I lose. I go in front of the judge. I lose summary judgment on the first level. I'm going against a title company. And I'm representing Ms. Rivas, and I went on appeal because they had knowledge that we were buyers. And this helped solidify the recording statute, the law in New York. So the appellate division rules in our favor. She still has a property today, and Stephanie Rivas tells me one day because of this case, because of me, she wants to become an attorney. And I hear that all the time, but I never thought anything. All of a sudden, I get a call. I'm entering law school. I said, no way, you're doing it. And now she's an attorney today.
Awesome.
Ms. Rivas owns a property. We won the case. And now I represent the title company. They hired me after that case. One of my biggest clients, still today, 20 years later, or more than 20 years. I represent the title company. So that's a very fulfilling case for me.
Wow. Great story.
That's when it goes above and beyond just Call of Duty.
Yeah, well, that's not my first fight, but yeah.
Won't be your last either.
Well, I don't care about losing, who wins a fight? There's very few winning,
This is what you mean about Dale Carnegie, right? There's you never actually win an argument because even when you win, you lose.
Right. Well, yeah,
because the other person begrudges you.
right. No one likes to be yelled at, so you're losing there. No one likes to feel bad, so you're losing there.
Right.
But if you have a conversation or you're teaching, and you get them, and it becomes their idea.
Exactly.
Then they really think.
And you get trust-based influence.
So they trust you. They think it's their idea. They're the hero, and
you planted the seed.
Who cares about the ego thing?
There's no egos.
There's no ego.
There's no egos.
Ego is not a good thing. But I have a fascinating story. I took a tram. I was looking for investment properties, which I do own a few units, and I took a tram over to visit this guy's property, and this is like 2000. And I meet this guy, and he's talking to me, and he says, "If you don't tell people how great you are, how are they going to know?" I said, "That's really a great idea." So when I started out my career and no one knew who I was, I was telling every magazine that would interview me after every one of these cases, I would win a case or whatever, and I'd talk about we're the best new law firm out there. And I would tell them that, because if we don't tell them how great we are, how are they going to know? Looking back, I have to be careful who I take advice from. Guess who that person was? Donald Trump.
I thought you were going to say that.
I was just going to say Donald Trump.
He was on, what is that island where the tram goes to on 59th Street?
Roosevelt Island?
Roosevelt Island. He was selling units there, and he happened to be there himself, picking out like designs. And I had met him at the swimsuit. I have a picture of this. I met him at the swimsuit issue party. Like right before that. I can show you a picture of it on my phone. Someone just sent it to me. Me, LL Cool J, two models, David Blaine, and everybody's looking at him. So he remembered me. And then he asked some questions, and of course he did all the talking.
Yeah.
He asked the questions, but then he answered his own questions. He didn't want to hear from me. But that's surprising, I know. But yeah.
Wow.
That's that. Daily routines?
Daily routines, yes.
Right, Adam, what time do you get up at?
So this week I got up at 5:30 because my wife had the flu. So I needed an extra half hour.
You're a bit under the weather yourself?
I have a cold right now.
Uh-huh.
But I don't, there's no.
That didn't have any bearing.
That doesn't matter. But so
So up at 5:30.
I had to get the kids ready for school. So I got up at 5:30, and instead of running outside, today I ran outside. Instead of running outside, I did the bike inside. I have a Wahoo. It's a bike inside with a Zwift where you can race or you can challenge yourself, and it's great.
Where do you live?
Upper East Side.
Nice.
So I'm done 40-minute workout. I'm done at, like 6:20. So that gives me time to get the kids' clothes out, get the kids ready, wake the kids up, getting ready, and then my day's still on time. Make sure get my wife coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, make sure she's okay. Happy wife, happy life. But normally I'm up at 6 o'clock. I'm going for my run or I'm cycling because I can't run 5 days a week anymore. And then then I'm ready by 8:30 to 8:30.
Launch.
I'm ready to go into the world and kick some butt. Now I may be doing some work while I'm getting ready, but that's a different story. Call it too. So then now am I heading to court or am I heading to the office? Who knows?
Is it the court downtown here that you mostly go to?
Yeah, well, no, there's one in Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, Brooklyn.
There's one in Brooklyn is either 141 Livingston or 360 Adams Street.
Okay.
Manhattan is 111 Center 80 Center or 60 Center. Federal Court is next door to that. Could be any of those.
The second homes.
Queens is on Sumter Boulevard. And that's Staten Island behind you.
You don't make it up to the Bronx? The Bronx County Courthouse, isn't
And
it?
it's very rare, but we had a really big case in the Bronx, which is really exciting, which you can read about. Fascinating case, which we won this year at the lower court and at the appellate division. Really exciting case. Like the CIA was involved. It was amazing.
Wow.
Fight over land. True fight over land. And no one covered it.
The CIA got involved.
No, the CIA just had I don't know why they had a lookout at on the land at one time X amount of years ago.
Why do you think no one covered it?
It wasn't rich enough people, no celebrities. It's a phenomenal story that should be covered. Should have been covered. I don't, we didn't sell. I also didn't work hard selling it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you get the coffee for the missus, you get the kids out the door.
No, that's only this week.
8:30, you're
No,
ready to
that's
launch.
only this week.
That's just this week, okay.
Right. Normally, I have nothing to do with the kids except saying hello. I'm spending some time with them. So we're talking fantasy football with my 7-year-old, my 9-year-old, Star Wars, or or baseball. We're huge Mets fans. So I'm out the door at 8:30. We're either going to court or going to the office, whatever is necessary. And the day's going on, and it's chaos every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the goal is to get home by 7:30. Doesn't always happen so well. It can, like this week, I got home from a board meeting at we represent 600 corporate condos. So I got home from an annual meeting at 10, and then I had to be asleep at 10:30 to wake up at 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not fun.
You need your 7 hours.
I'm trying for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly totally 7. So, and then, so it's a difficult life.
But you love it. You have a great life.
I'm so blessed that I'm giving these skills where I can help people.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm
Must
so
be great.
blessed.
That must be empowering feeling.
And that's the other thing. I'm so blessed that after being, I'm not good at most things in the world. And I'm so blessed that I'm giving these skills that I can actually do something that actually helps people. And who knows what's next? It looks like every year we keep getting better and better, bigger and bigger clients, and more fascinating cases, and the attorneys are growing, they're getting older, and they're better and better attorneys.
Yeah, your office is really impressive. I mean, from walking in here today, the hospitality has been off the charts.
Yeah.
Everyone's so, not just professional, but also personable. And I think that starts from the top, I think. Someone sets an example of how to treat people, and then it works its way throughout the org.
Right, so listening to your office and how it's run, your former office, I was like, no. Maybe it's great, maybe it's the best office in the world, but I would never want to run it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I am at fault for anything that goes wrong in this office, top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Something goes wrong, I'm at fault. That's the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm always trying to improve.
Mm-hmm.
Because if morale is not good, people aren't going to work as hard.
So hard to keep that up, isn't it, morale?
We have revenue sharing
Okay.
for the attorneys. They get a third of what they bill that we collect, and then 20% of anything they bring in.
Okay.
So that sure helps out.
It's
with
kind of
morale.
similar to a brokerage then. There is like a strong incentive to produce.
Right, except they're getting paid even if they don't produce.
True.
So you guys have it much harder.
But they went to law school and we did 75 hours.
I wouldn't. They went to law school. There's no excuses. You're either going to be great or you're not in any profession.
True. Yeah, you either want to be the best, or you're just going to mail it in.
A lot of it's learning. A lot of it's that extra learning, I think, for brokers and lawyers about what you're doing and
outside of the curriculum.
right.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep learning.
Every successful person says that one of the most important things to success is continuous learning. The hunger for learning. It's very important.
But there's certain books to read, and
What's your
it
favorite
also
book?
helps. For you guys, there's not that many books on. There's very few books for you on brokering. There's like almost none.
No, but just anything.
But there's a book that you should read for what you're doing, so you can impress your clients. And let me get the name right. It's by let me just pull it out. It's about the Dutch. It's about the Dutch. It's about the around the world. It's about the Dutch settling Manhattan. It's a phenomenal book.
Something about New Amsterdam.
Yeah, let me just get it. It's around. It's called Around the World. Around the
What's your
world.
favorite real estate book?
Finding the uncommon deal.
That's your favorite real
That's
estate book.
funny.
Nice. 2012.
Around the World.
Billionaires Row, that was a good read. I read that recently. About 57th Street, all the development going on there.
Say it again.
Gary Barnett.
Billionaires Row, have you read it?
Um,
Just came out recently.
I'm in it.
You are in it. Yes,
I'm
you are in it.
I'm
Yeah.
in fact, all the books that came out this year, I'm in.
Awesome.
And
that's awesome.
And nothing is a bigger ego trip than that.
Yeah. I hope I'm in a book one day. That's when you know you made it. That's pretty
Say it
awesome.
again?
I hope I'm in a book one day. That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah, I do just
Just write a book about myself.
Just luck. I had no idea it was going to happen. And all of a sudden, someone sent me an advance copy of a page I was in. I'm like, okay, I need this. Then they said the book.
Do you have another famous case representing a tenant against Gary Barnett? One of the tenants.
I wouldn't call it famous. I'd call it bad lawyering.
On whose part?
The adversary, without name. I'm not going to name the.
Okay.
I'm not going to name the.
What happened there? There was a huge settlement, right?
5 million,
Well,
wasn't it?
by the way, wait, it's about around the world something, but the Dutch coming. But email me and I get it.
I will.
And I'll buy you the book.
That's
Oh,
that's
thank
your
you.
favorite
That's
book.
very
Who's your favorite?
No, that's not my favorite book. That's a book you must read for your profession.
Okay.
It's the Dutch coming, and it'll help you appreciate. Like the Bronx is named after a guy named the Bronx.
I thought it was named after the Brit in the Bronx.
There you go.
Actually.
But so it helps.
Yeah, I have read a bit of history before,
Right.
yeah.
When you have a lot of knowledge, people trust you more.
Yes.
So that book really helps out.
Who's your favorite real estate broker?
Apart from us.
My favorite real estate broker. I love so many of them, and I can't name one. You think I'm that dumb enough? This is going live. You're gonna get.
Who's the? If I say real estate broker, what name springs to mind?
If you say real estate broker, what
Name springs to mind.
Guy named Flattery and
Wheeler?
his companion, and then the broker from the Bronx.
So you're going to plead the
Rich from
fifth.
Bronx.
You're going to plead the fifth on this
Yeah,
one.
I can't do that.
Who's your favorite attorney?
My favorite attorney, there's about 20 something here that I love. John Desiderio, Colin Kaufman, Dov Tryman.
Are you naming your
Jeffrey
employees?
Betts. Naming all the attorneys here.
Outside of the firm, who's your favorite?
Outside the firm, who's my favorite attorney?
Who has done more for the profession than anybody else that you know?
Daniel Webster,
Why?
Civil War, incredible
All
attorney.
right, you're going for all right.
Yeah.
You're fairly skilled at not seem to be having a favorite.
No, I don't. There's very few good attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
Very few. It gives it. It's so great that that's true. There's very few attorneys that are very into the law, that are dedicated to winning and going after it and doing it. Very few.
If you were not an attorney, what would you do?
I'd be developing real estate.
Who's your favorite developer? Who do you think does a great job?
Trump builds really well.
But with the caveat that he doesn't pay anyone. So,
Well, hey, listen, if he can get away with that, congratulations to him. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing. And by the way, I'm not. I'm not going to say anything bad. All right. So, Gary Barnett, we've had some major problems where we had a multi-million-dollar problem where, I've sued a lot of every developer.
I love that.
And we've had a major problem in Times Square, and we had to bring in an engineer from Canada. It was a multi-million-dollar problem because of the wind coming in, and we really thought the windows were going to break. And it's very easily he could have just denied the problem. Instead, he paid the big bucks, and he got it fixed. So you got hats off to Gary Barnett for that. And Yeshuva Ganuk, his sister-in-law, his general counsel. I mean, that took a lot of chutzpah and guts and courage, and he never bragged about it. So hats off to him for that. Every building has problems. The good builders fix them.
Mm.
And this is from someone who's sued more developers than anyone else alive. Me.
Do you think a developer's worried when they see that you're on the other side as the attorney?
I don't know. I can't.
I think they probably are.
I don't know. But I do know that my job is to get the building fixed and to avoid litigation.
Do you ever feel bad that you're suing the people that are trying to fix the problem, meaning the people who are creating the most housing, you're actually making their life harder?
No, we don't do it that way. No, we're good guys. We're good people. We hire an engineer, and we show them what's wrong, and then we beg them to hire their own engineer to look at our engineering report and see if they disagree. And the last thing we want to do is sue. We get a tolling agreement, so we have time to sue if we have to. But we want to sit down and work it out.
Mm-hmm.
Other lawyers sue right away, makes a newspaper, and devalues the building. We're not that law firm.
I see.
We file very few suits. Almost all of ours settle.
You want to give the developer a chance to fix the problem,
Absolutely.
improve the housing. Last resort then is trying to get litigious with
If
it.
I have to sue the developer, I'm taking them down. I'm ruining their reputation. I'm ruining them, period.
But there's a period where you give them a chance to not...
Period, years.
Right.
We're trying to just get them to fix the problems. And I don't want to get into any thing. But most of the time I'm on the developer side. And I'm begging the homeowners to get an engineer. They're complaining about problems, but they're not getting an engineer. Well, their problems, I can't help them without an engineer report. So 2 engineers going at it is helpful. Them complaining without any meat to it, with an attorney just suing out of nowhere and ruining my client's reputation is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain attorney, or 1 or 2 attorneys, that just, I know they want to get their name on the paper. It's like they want to be like Mike, that kind of thing.
Right.
I'm Mike.
You're Mike.
Yeah.
Can we talk about conflict?
Yeah.
It's such a... So there's conflict everywhere. Everyone's at odds.
No, not for us. We have a conflict waiver where we can actually sue our own clients.
No, I mean conflict in the sense 2 people actually, one person wants to beat the other in a situation.
Yeah.
Right? They're at odds. Tenant,
Right.
landlord, whatever. What's the best way, or what are some tools to disarm the whole heated argument that undoubtedly happens when you're dealing with billions of dollars in New York real estate?
But give me more facts. What level are we at?
Well, say some of the cases you just mentioned there, right? So you've represented developers and you've also went against developers, right? So in any of those situations...
Which side am I on?
If you're representing, say, a developer, right?
Right.
And the tenants are saying there's some issue with the building,
Right.
right? It's their home, right? So everyone's emotional. Everyone has a perspective. The developer believes that they delivered great product and they did the right thing. They've spent a lot of money and they've really tried to do the right thing. The
Right.
tenant believes that it's just another case of a greedy developer that's cutting corners.
Right.
So how do you come in and just get your arms around that?
Well, I asked for an engineering report. We're happy to fix. We're here to fix the building. We want to give you the building as promised in the offering plan, but you got to cooperate because we've delivered you an engineering report showing what the building's like. And by the way, here are the things we agree to fix because our engineer told us there's something wrong. But after we fix those, we don't have any more. So if you have others, can you let us know, please? Hire your own engineer. You telling me there's something wrong. How do I know you didn't break it? How do I know what's in every unit? If you hire an engineer, you'll get that. We'll get that. So that disarms it. If I have an attorney who is just trying to get their name on the paper or is trying to make money, that's a big loser for me. So what I do is I set up a meeting with the clients also. Problem is a lot of the clients, there's 5 of them, and they're angry. That's much harder because they represent 200 units. That's a harder thing because I don't get to talk to 200 units. I get to talk to 5 angry people and the attorney who's gung-ho to get his name in the paper.
So when you're dealing in that situation, there's 5 angry clients, there's 1 attorney who wants to have the publicity. How do you tackle that?
So we're setting up a schedule for fixing what we believe. I require my clients to get an engineering report, and we're going to fix whatever's wrong. And they're happy about that. We're admitting that there's problems. But if they have other problems, we need them to get an engineering report,
Mm-hmm.
or they're not going to get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time it works.
Mm-hmm.
But we file very few new construction cases anymore. We used to file a lot.
Conflict.
How do you think the law? Do you think that's changing a lot? Do you think the industry's changing?
But law for what?
Just the law industry. Do you think going forward, like technology or anything like that's having a big impact?
I'll tell you what. We're going to have very few new construction cases coming up because no one's able to build.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't. The 421A.
Not there, so you don't have to worry
We're not
about
going to
it.
have it, so no one's going to build. Most of the developers are now in North Carolina and Florida, which is not fun for them, but no one's welcoming back to New York. It's so easy to pass some laws to bring them back to New York, but it doesn't seem our governor understands that. And the Democratic Socialists are definitely not helping out. So we're not going to have these cases anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For your end, like where you are in the Bronx, the clients are handing the keys. So that's got to be worth something because there's tenants in there paying rent. So that's got to be some good deals. A lot of my clients are handing in keys.
Yeah. The note's worth more than the building. The loan is worth more than the building.
Well, and also they can't afford to make repairs
Yeah.
because of these laws. So I think there's a communication problem. Someone needs to communicate to Albany what's actually going on. Well, that's these community associations' jobs. These
The chips of the world.
right. That's their job. But why is it not happening? I don't understand why it's not happening. We used to get sent every bill to review. We don't get that anymore. They used to ask for our opinion because we represent both sides, even though we're really more pro landlord. But it doesn't happen anymore. It's there's no 2 parties.
Fascinating.
So what do you think for 2 young brokers like us, what do you think, or where do you think our time is best spent over the next year or 2?
It's a great question. Your time is spent with people that have cash. If someone needs a mortgage, say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
If people have cash, and there are tons of developers that have cash, generational cash, they're going to have the greatest buying spree they've ever had before. Both in retail, office, multifamily. There's going to be some multifamily judgments after this law that just passed that are going to bankrupt the landlords. You got to keep your eyes open, and keep reading.
Make friends with them.
Well, no. I would start looking at the foreclosures going on, the lis pendens.
Yep.
Property Shark will go down to the courthouse, and they need to sell. And if you could have buyers that are looking with cash, there's a huge community in Great Persia, Great Neck.
Great Persia. There's a lot of Albanians in the Bronx are seeing a lot of cash as well.
There's a lot of cash out there.
Yes.
And it's the greatest time ever in the history of New York for buying right now. But not if you're getting a mortgage.
No.
And if you had adjustable rate mortgage, this is the greatest you're going to have to be selling or you're getting foreclosed on, or you're handing the keys. So understanding, so for you, if you could understand the building and understand what's happening, you've hit gold.
Thanks for the words of wisdom. We appreciate it. Thanks for lunch as well. What a spread.
Yeah, shepherd's pie. We asked for shepherd's pie. We got shepherd's pie. It's amazing.
Right, but this is
We're gonna
No
have
2 days in real estate are the same.
but this is generational, going back to my great grandparents.
Lower East
They
Side,
came over Lower East Side
Orchard Street.
and Harlem and Brooklyn. A lot of them came over, and this is the real thing. I mean, in fact, when I was little, this was twice a year, because locks is very expensive.
Still is, right? I mean, it's a proper spread.
No, I said is very expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is, I would only get this twice a year, and I jumped at it.
Thank you.
I aggressively beat out my sister to get the locks.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your time as well.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been
Thank
a
you for
pleasure.
having me.
Yes.
I'm very. Hey, by the way, you guys do a great interview, great job.
Thank you.
And we're we love to help try to get it out there with all the people you met that
No,
do
We
we're-
appreciate
marketing.
it. We appreciate it a lot. Thank
we
you.
appreciate your friendship, relationship, and thanks for being so generous about your
No,
time.
thank you.
and
Thank you
everything.
for having me. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaz.
All good.